a little bit odd preaching to a mostly empty church. But over the last couple of weeks, we've seen a lot of things change in our lives, haven't we? The way that we schedule our days, the way that we socialize, the way that we conduct business or have gatherings. We've seen them gradually reduce in size to becoming almost non-existent, using our iPhones, our laptops, technologies that have been given to us that now we see the church in an even deeper way embracing. You know, there could have been some resistance to that, I think. Maybe to just recoil, hope that things pass and get back to normal rather quickly. You know, in some sense, Jesus doesn't show a whole lot of urgency in the gospel today, does he? He's told that one of his closest friends, Lazarus, the brother of Martha and Mary, a family that he was rather close to, was dying, and he almost seems to be disinterested. Most of us would hear such a plea and drop everything, get to that town as quickly as possible. But in this case, not Jesus. But he starts journeying in that direction. Many of us could relate to one or other of the characters in the gospel today. To some degree, Thomas looks at it as an exercise in futility, stepping into dangerous territory. Almost resigned, the doubting Thomas says, let's just go with him. We may as well die with him. Others scoff. Why couldn't he have done something for this man? Why couldn't he have acted sooner? Others with faith. Others maybe a little mixed. If you'd been here, he wouldn't have died at all. My friends, aren't the circumstances that we find ourselves in now putting us at that crossroads between faith and fear? We might be resolute in some ways of isolating ourselves, holding up in our homes. And some of that might be rather prudent, to be sure, for the sake of public health, out of consideration for our neighbor. Maybe we recoil a little bit now. The term social distancing is a little unnerving, I think. Let's not mistake a call for physical distancing to not lead us to being socially distant, much less spiritually distant. Maybe, just maybe, God has a way of using these situations and circumstances for a higher good, a better purpose. Who would have thought that the death of a friend of Jesus, or the death of anyone, could have had good consequences, as we heard in that gospel today? No one was thinking of a resurrection. No one was thinking of life being restored or strengthened. Yet sure enough, in those strange circumstances, God was able to act. But some things had to take place first. It's almost like it had to become this extreme circumstance before Jesus would move. Lazarus literally had to die. And Jesus places himself in that position, and he calls out to the witnesses that day, take away the stone. And in getting that command, how do they respond? We shouldn't do that. Surely there'll be a stench, they said. And he says, remove the stone. My friends, sometimes we put up boulders in front of ourselves, social distancing, because we're afraid of how we might be received or perceived by God, by those around us. We build stones, we build walls, lest the stench be somehow shown out. Sometimes we believe that God can't even forgive us, and we stay holed in, separated, socially or spiritually distant. Perhaps God's trying to tell us now, enough of the distancing. But maybe now, while we need that physical distance from those around us, that God wants to become spiritually ever more close to us now. In our hearts, can we roll away those stones? Can we take that risk of allowing God to enter the caves, the tombs of our own lives, those areas that cry out for healing, for wholeness, for restoration? I really believe something good is in store for us. Not that we'd ever wish a pandemic. I know in the last couple of weeks, I've noticed my Facebook feed taking on a very different character. Just weeks ago, it seemed that it was all politics, mudslinging, calling people out. Now I sign into Facebook, I see brother priests celebrating Mass. I see parishes virtually praying with their parishioners with the Rosary, Stations of the Cross, offering reflections on the readings. I hear stories in our parishes of Bible studies taking place over Skype or Zoom. Words that probably were barely in our vocabulary weeks ago, we hear almost every single day. Maybe God's using this to help us to focus on and prioritize on that which is most important. In stirring up a hunger for being able to celebrate the Eucharist and receive Holy Communion, maybe this is God's way of opening the door, of helping us to take away the stones and get into a deeper relationship, a holier relationship. I've seen photos of priests hearing confessions of people driving up in their cars, as I'm going to do for the first time in just a few moments. God's grace cannot be concealed, cannot be constrained, cannot be limited. My friends, if we can hold on to the truth that God wants something good to happen in your life through this, in your family through this, in the world around you through this. Maybe this is a challenge for the church to pull away the stone and open ourselves up to new ways of sharing our faith, new ways of proclaiming the gospel, new ways of being present to the world around us, to those who may not have set foot in a church for years. Maybe by you sharing those prayers, this Mass, something that is uplifting, sharing that to someone on your Facebook feed, among your friends. Maybe that's a way of bringing Jesus to the doorpost of their hearts, to allow him to call each of us forward to new life, to new hope, out of the shadows of fear, into the light